Hey, it's attorney Mark Blane, practicing law here in San Diego, California. And in this video, I'm going to talk about the top 4 things that an injury lawyer looks at when they're evaluating a police report in a car collision case. There's probably about 7 or 8 things that I do to look at a police report before taking on a case or looking at a case. But this video is just going to focus on the top 4 items that any injury lawyer is going to look at. So let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to look for is property damage. A lot of times when I get a police report, I may not be the lawyer on the case yet. It could be a prospective client that's just emailed me the police report. So the first thing I'm going to look at is the property damage, what the officer put down, whether it was minor, moderate, or severe. Now I'm using a police report form 555, which is standard issue for California Highway Patrol all through the state of California, and also other law enforcement agencies use this format. But these officers, they see a lot of carnage on the road, so it takes a lot for them to move property damage from minor to moderate or even above to severe. But I still want to see what they're going to put because it gives me a flavor as to the biomechanical forces that were at play during this car collision. So that's number 1. Okay, I'm going to look at that. And number 2, I'm going to look at fault. Now in California, I have another video on this, but a California Highway Patrol or any law enforcement officer cannot give causation testimony at trial as to who's at fault in a car collision case unless that officer has witnessed the collision itself. Now the officer can do anything else at trial in terms of what he saw and heard and recorded in his report, but he can't give causation testimony unless he's witnessed the collision. The reason why is because he is limited to what he saw and heard. Otherwise, it goes into the realm of expert opinion, and so California law forbids it. Now, other states allow it. California just doesn't do it. But I still want to know what the officer put as fault because it gives me an immediate flavor as to what he or she thinks who the culprit or culprits are for the police report. And then I'm going to look at the summation on the back to see cause and fault and what their opinion is. Even though it can't come in at trial, it's something I always look at. So that's number 2. Number 3, I'm going to look at witness statements. This is huge. Witness statements can make or break a police report. You can sometimes have a poorly written report being saved by just one witness statement by some independent witness that saw the collision. And it can turn things around so fast in liability and whatnot that it's super important. So I'm always going to look for witness statements and who they are. Were the witnesses other passengers in the same vehicles involved, or were they independent in other vehicles? That's important. We want to look for independent witnesses that are credible in what they saw and heard. Okay, so number 4, that's number 3. So number 4, I'm going to look at who's at fault, who owns the vehicle, who's at fault. Whether it's more than one vehicle, like this police report, there's multiple vehicles, and it looks like there's two vehicles that are at fault, not one. I'm going to look to see that because that's who I'm going to focus in on how we're going to get a recovery. And not only that, I'm going to look to see who the owners of those vehicles are. Now sometimes the officer will give you the driver and the owner being the same person, and then sometimes it's owned by a different company or person. And a lot of times, sometimes, the at-fault party or parties are employees of an employer. And if that's the case, I definitely want to know that because that's going to be signaling another policy to go after in terms of recovery for your case. So those are the 4 main things that any good experienced injury lawyer is going to definitely focus on in a injury case. And this is why it's so important. And it's not always, it's so important to have a good police report, but please don't misread that. You don't need a police report to have a valid personal injury case in California. A lot of times my clients, they get in a car crash, but they don't go to medical care right away. So the police don't come out because they don't think it's that serious and they're also busy. So just because you don't have a police report doesn't mean you don't have the opportunity to bring a valid personal injury case for your injuries in California. So this video is just limited to those cases that do have a police report and the things that a good injury lawyer looks at to move forward with his analysis on that case. So I hope you found this video insightful. If you have questions on your case, maybe you're in this situation where you have a police report, it's ambiguous, you don't know, sometimes the officer didn't even put who's at fault, that does happen, and you have questions, you can always email me a copy of the police report, I'll look at it. I get calls on these pretty much every day. People are asking questions about their case, and a lot of times they do have questions about the police report and what it says. So if you fall into that category, please feel free to reach out to me. My contact information is going to be all over this video, and of course I'll make myself available to you, and I do that every day. So I hope you find this very helpful, and with that, stay strong and have a great day. Thank you.